There is no go live button.
Yeah, I pressed it inside the
So,
channel as a moderator.
okay.
See, yes, live and working. Hello to the YouTube chat.
Cool.
Nice to see also some guys watching on YouTube. I just explained you can drop questions during the webinar, before the webinar, inside the YouTube chat as well. Also, feel free to let us know which country you're watching from. Got a very international viewership again today. Already subscribed to the Pro plan, Mohammed is writing. Nice to hear that. Yeah, maybe everybody who's already a PublishFlow user, feel free to let us know. I think both for non-users, we have some mind-blowing. If you've never seen of it, I think your minds will be blown today. If you're already a user, we have some exciting updates to share today. Give it a couple more minutes to assemble some people, and then we can kick it off. Maybe to add you, feel free to drop the questions also in the Q&A tab. You can find it at the bottom of the Zoom interface. There, it's easier for us to have an overview of the questions, but I will also try to find them later on in the chat.
Maybe
Last time
quick
we had a lot
feedback
of
here.
questions.
When I open the
Again,
chat, can you see the chat on my screen or is it blurred? Is it like gray?
I don't see. Yeah, now it's a gray box on your screen.
Okay, so I can read the questions without leaking any personal information. So I can just read the
Yeah.
questions. Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
Sorry, guys, if I'm a little bit louder again than Andre. I will shut up in a second, and then you can also raise your voice again, raise the audio a little bit again. Kevin, I see your question. Same for you. Feel free to also drop it in the Q&A section. We will have a little Q&A at the end of the webinar. You can find the Q&A tab in the Zoom interface at the bottom.
Yeah,
Also
okay,
see
I
some.
think we could
Kick it
start.
off.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. Again, happy to see you all here. Gonna kick it off with a little intro. I mentioned already, those who have not seen of PublishFlow, I think your mind will be blown today. Last time the feedback was incredible. We have a lot of active users right now. To the active users, some exciting announcements today. The software is moving fast. We have a lot of implementations planned out. I think moving fast is a nice keyword for the whole AI topic going on right now in the publishing scene. I think it's more or less a revolution going on. Everything is changing. I can speak for myself. I learned a lot of strategies, or basically, I learned all my high content AI workflow strategies from Andre. I like my approach is always copy the best, and that has worked out very well for me so far. Yeah, I think when it comes to AI in publishing, I think reaching quality levels that were hard to reach before is getting easier and easier. Like AI is a big part of raising your quality, but also production speed, um, and also lowering the cost. I think that's a big part. I think what we will show today is, or what Andre will show today is a revolution in itself when it comes to writing tools, but also those who are already using it know it's not just a writing tool. Yeah, I would say I kick it off to Andre. Hope you guys are excited, and let's see what Andre has got for us today.
Thank you, Tim. Okay. How are you currently creating your books? How good is the quality of your books? How much do you pay to create a book at the moment? And how long does it take from the first idea to a finished book? I already asked these questions a week ago in our PublishFlow live webinar. Last week on Thursday, we launched PublishFlow and we got amazing feedback so far. And no, this webinar will not be the same as the one last week, but I still want to start with the personal story before we dive into PublishFlow in more detail, just because it's, I think, important context for the people to know why we building it, why we created it. Because when I started publishing in 2024, the first high content book I created, or the first few books, took me between 2 to 3 months on average. And the longest I've been ever working on a book was over 9 months on one single high content book. This one. It was a huge success. As you can see, maybe I can share it for a few more seconds. That was December last year. So 1 month of this book. It was a huge success, but as I said, it took me 9 months and nearly $6,000 to create it. And that simply doesn't scale. If you want to do multiple books like those, like this one per year, it's really hard to execute. So I asked myself, how can I create a book like this, not in 9 months, not in 6 months, and not even in 3 months, but ideally in just 1 month. And also ideally not for $6,000, but for less than $1,000. And all of that without losing quality, but actually improving it even. I took those questions very seriously a year ago, and today I'm happy to tell you I found the answer. And I showed it to you 1 week ago. PublishFlow. A software we've been building for a month now, and it released a week ago. Now we're happy to share it in our second demo. We, the team behind PublishFlow, is first of all me, Andre. I will introduce myself in a minute or two. Then Roman, the AI engineer and the developer behind it, and Tim, who just made the beautiful introduction, who is the person behind all of our visuals too that I will later introduce to you. Now, today, I will show you PublishFlow in even more detail than in the last webinar of last week. I will first share the story behind PublishFlow with you. Then I'll give you a live demo of the groundbreaking tools and features we've been developing over the past few months, plus new features we've been just released today and in the last few days during the launch week. And finally, I will show you the founding member deal that will end today. So today is the last chance to get PublishFlow as cheap as possible and give you a last chance to get this price that you will never see again. Sounds good? Then let's get started. A few words about me, just as context for people who maybe you saw one video of me or you saw no video of me. So you have a quick break around who am I. I've been publishing for 2 years. I'm an Austrian self-publisher and moved to Cyprus now. I've published over 50 high content books in these 2 years, and I've earned over $500,000 during that time. You can see the screenshots here. Currently, I publish about 4 high content books a month, sometimes 5, but I think it's pretty consistent 4 a month. That's 1 per week, at least 1 per week. And all of them meet the highest quality standards and aim to be the best books in the niche. That's always, if you watched only one of my videos, you always hear me talking about that. Some people also find it annoying, but I'm always focused on the quality part. So the value for the reader is by far the most important thing for me, because I deeply care for my readers and I'm really focused that the reader gets something out of buying my books. It's not just a quick buck for me, it's not just money making for me, but it's really to serve a customer. And I don't want just to tell that. I have a few reviews prepared. This is one of my books. It's a German book, that's why the screenshot is German. Another book, 50 reviews, nearly all of them 5 stars. Then another book, that's an English book now, 200 global reviews, mainly 5 stars, 0 1-star reviews, which is really, really great. Again here, 4.8 out of 5, 280 reviews, another 4.9, just so you see that I really care about the feedback that readers give me. And all of these books were real test readers. So I don't use these review platforms. I use real people who buy my books. I reimburse them and they give me personal feedback. And then I ask them if they would be open to leave a review, and that's how I get my review. So these are all real people. None of them is like another publisher reviewing my books because I use one of these review platforms. These are all real people, and that's what I'm really proud about. Just so you see that I deeply care about the quality aspects of the books. To manage this continuous high output, as I said, one book a week at least, combined with my high quality standards, is only possible because of the workflow behind PublishFlow. But let's start from the beginning. How did we came up with the idea behind PublishFlow? When I started KDP 2 years ago, I had no money, but a lot of time. So I started creating my first books 100% on my own. That means I created everything. I made the niche research, of course, that's the basics. Then I created the books in Canva, most of them in the beginning. Everything, I wrote them, I made the covers, I made the A+ content, everything I did myself. And in the beginning, I asked the AI to teach me about the topic I want to write a book about. 2 years ago, AI was too bad at writing to use it for write a full book. And I told it to teach me the knowledge about the topic so I could write the book myself. So to explain it in a little bit more detail, I told it that's the topic I want to write about. I have no idea, or not no idea, but I'm not an expert in the topic, but I want to be in a position where I could educate people about that. And then I got taught by the AI, and then while I was learning, I wrote the book myself. And that took 2-3 months, but in the end, it was an amazing book because I was from a beginner perspective, but wanted actually to learn the topic and had a really unique perspective on the topic because of that. Because if you are a new person who just learned something, you can reproduce it and teach it often way simpler than an expert who has taught the topic for, I don't know, 10 years, for example. And that turned out to work pretty well. So the readers loved it and love it until today. So a lot of my best-selling books were books that I created 2 years ago, and they, till this day, love these books. After publishing the first few successful books, all in this way or in a similar way to this, AI got better, of course, over time, as got my ability to use the AI and use the big potential behind the AI. At the same time, I started a travel guide brand together with a German publishing colleague. So just as a context for you, in the German market, travel guides are a huge niche for self-publishers, and many people are working on travel guides in Germany. So it was a logical step for us to take. And the first guide we created, I've already talked about. It's this one. To get the best quality, we hired a real travel agent from the country the book is about. She was the one who wrote the book. So she really worked there. She is a travel agent. She has customers there. So she is an expert. And it is, and it was and is still a massive success. But as already mentioned in the beginning, it took us 9 months and $6,000 to produce this book. To scale this, it would take years. It's just not practical. So I decided to use what I've learned by using the AI from my previous books myself and build a workflow that I started teaching to new travel agents for future guides for us. The result was, instead of 9 months, it now only takes 2 to 3 weeks for the expert to write the entire travel guide. To finish one guide, it still takes around 3 months, but the writing itself now goes 5 to 10x as fast. It takes still 3 months because of the heavy design. We have normally around 300 images in a travel guide, and to finish the design, to make it really look beautiful, our designers take really long, and that's why in total it still is around 2.5 to 3 months. But as I said, the writing itself is way faster. The cost was also massively reduced. As you can imagine, of course, paying an expert only for 2 to 3 weeks instead of 9 months is way cheaper. I mean, thousands of dollars cheaper. And all of that without losing quality. In our case, it even increased the quality of the travel guides. The AI-supported travel guides had more in-depth knowledge than the human-written guides. Since the workflow worked so well for the travel guides, I started using it for a lot of other different types of books, all kinds of non-fiction books, for self-help books, for short story books, for children's books, facts and trivia books. Basically, it works for any non-fiction book that consists primarily out of text, and short stories, which is factually fiction, but it also works really well for any kind of short story books. This led to two things in my business. My production cost for my other book brands dropped from thousands of dollars to just $200 to $300 per book, which is an insane drop in productivity. And the production time fell from months to weeks, or sometimes, in some cases, even only a few days. And now for the most important part, all of this without sacrificing quality. In my experience, all the books I created using my workflow actually improved in quality. Timo, one of our beta testers, put it very nicely. He wrote it in German to me in a WhatsApp message, so I translated it first into English, but you can see both in a second. So that's the German original text, and that's my translation. Andre, the introduction chapter is written, and what can I say? I'm fascinated, blown away, and a little scared. The text is better than anything ghostwriters have ever delivered to me. Just unbelievably good. He's a German self-publisher, one of our 30 beta testers, and yeah, he wrote me that on WhatsApp. You can see it, but most of you won't be able to read German, so I translated it. In the last few days since the release, we received countless more positive comments. So as I said, we had 30 beta testers, but now a lot of people already bought and joined PublishFlow, so we got a lot of more positive comments, as you can see. I can't read all of them, but you can pause. If you watch the replay of this webinar, you can pause and read all of them, but just so you have a few positive comments you can skim through. Also a few German ones, so we have, most of our users are English users at the moment, but we have also a few German users, that's why a few comments are also in German. And then, since I'm well connected in the KDP space, and based on my personality, I just like to share things very openly when they work well. So if I have something that works well, I just tell everybody I know. I'm just that kind of person, very euphoric. And yeah, that's the reason why the word quickly spread about how fast I can produce great books. And that's why more and more publishers that I know and around me have told me or asked me or written me on WhatsApp if I can share my workflow with them. Because what I just shared in my story is a common problem for most self-publishers. If quality is important to you, you easily pay over $1,000 for a good ghostwriter. In extreme cases, for a highly specialized book, it can even exceed $5,000. I know people who paid more than $5,000. Plus, the waiting time is usually extreme long. Several weeks, or often 2, 3, 4, or 6+ months are realistic wait times. And then you only have the raw text. On top of that, you still need editing, proofreading, formatting, and much more before the book is actually finished and ready to launch. Given all of these circumstances, it's incredibly difficult to build a real scalable publishing business. And that's exactly what gives us a huge competitive advantage. PublishFlow solves all of these problems and helps you to create a highly valuable book in less than a week. Long term, I think every publisher needs to switch to a software like PublishFlow, else they simply won't be able to compete anymore. Over 170 people have joined PublishFlow during the launch phase. Dozens of books were already created. And the feedback, as you've just seen a minute ago, has been amazing so far. And we're very grateful for that amazing feedback. All of the people who have joined already will have a massive advantage in the coming months and years. So let me show you what we have built in the live demo now. I have 5 blogs prepared for you, similar as in the webinar last week, but I have a few new features I will also show you today. So I hope you can still see my screen when I leave now. Okay, we are now inside PublishFlow. To be precise, we are in the niche and positioning tool inside PublishFlow. You can click on new research here and give your niche idea, a niche you just research, or a rough concept you have in mind. And based on that, you can now start doing competitor analysis in PublishFlow. That then helps you to get positioning ideas to compete against your main competitors. As you can see here, you can enter your keywords. These are the example keywords for this book. You can then write your own idea. If you have an idea for positioning or how you want the book to be structured, you can mention it here. And then you can paste up to 5 URLs of your main competitors. And what PublishFlow then does is get the data from Amazon directly of your competitors. That means everything that's on their product page, we can see, or PublishFlow can see and read. And then you can click on continue to analysis, and the workflow behind PublishFlow will analyze your competitors, will also do a general niche analysis in the internet, and based on all of this data, it will then give you an in-depth analysis in the next tab. And that's really interesting. You can read all of that. It lists you the market gaps and opportunities. It lists you the weaknesses of the competitors. But the really important part is the next tab when you click here and go to the positionings. Because what PublishFlow does is it gives you 3 positioning concepts. For the people who don't know the word positioning in that context, because we use it in Germany a lot, and I'm a German publisher. I also publish English books. I'm 50-50, but I learned publishing in the German market. And positioning just means the concept of the book. So what makes the book unique, the unique selling point. And PublishFlow creates 3 of those unique selling points for you and displays them here, gives you an example title, and lists why PublishFlow thinks there is potential in this niche if you use one of these concepts. And I've already showed this last week in the webinar, but now we have a new feature inside this niche and positioning tool. Because now you can click on brainstorm at the bottom. For example, if you like this concept the most, if you read through it and you think, okay, quiet leader's edge, emotional intelligence and communication strategies for introverts who want to lead, I like this one the most out of these 3. So I can now click on brainstorming, and now the brainstorming mode opens. And here you can again see everything you've just seen on the previous tab, but you can now use the PublishFlow AI assistant, the brainstorming assistant, to dig deeper into the market gap. And I now wrote to it, dig deeper, maybe have maybe let's switch to one that I didn't do. This one. Now, if you enter the brainstorm mode the first time, you can see, that's why I now switched, so I can show you this. You have 3 buttons you can click: make the USP sharper, suggest alternative titles, or dig deeper into the market gap. You can also type something yourself, so you can just tell it, hey, I like this basically, but XYZ is not perfect, so please improve that, or please give me 5 suggestions what I can improve in this positioning, in this concept. And you can brainstorm together with the AI here in this chat, and it will then implement your feedback if you wanted to implement it here live in this view. You can, of course, also add things here yourself, or you can just tell the AI assistant to add things for you. But I, in the example, clicked on dig deeper into the market gap, and then we can now switch back to the emotional intelligence example, because I really liked that example. And then it does a live market research. You will see the research here in the background. And then it gives you suggestions and tells you, okay, that's the thought process behind it. And if you want, it will implement it and optimize the positioning based on what you have discussed. And you can do this to improve it. You can discuss it here for 10 minutes until you're happy. You can also discuss it for an hour if you want to do it in depth. But as soon as you're finished and you think, okay, it's a great concept, it's a great positioning concept for your book, and you want to create a book, you can now click on proceed with this positioning, and then you can either choose the suggested title of the tool, so this one, or you can enter your pen name and then click on generate more titles, and it will give you 5 more title variants that you can then choose of. Now we wait a few seconds, and now they are here, and now you have 5 additional titles based on that positioning. And you can now choose the one you like the most. It doesn't need to be the perfect title, but they are often really, really good. For example, like this one, Leadership Skills for Introverts, that's, for example, more keyword-based. This title, The Quiet Leader's Edge, is more a concept title, so you can choose what you prefer. I think I like the original title the most, or this one, but just as an example, I will continue now. You can now click on Create Book with this title, and then what happens is that it opens the title tool. Now it loads, and now we are in the book view of PublishFlow. You can see on the left all the tools inside one of our books. We will go through all of them step by step. And the first tool is the title tool with the title assistant. And here, same as before, you can give it feedback. You can tell it, okay, I like this title, but I don't like the word, I don't know, lead. I mean, in this example, all the words are important, but, or you can, for example, it's only 108 characters long. You can ask it, hey, please make it a little longer. If you write it, say, make it a little longer, it will give you 3 examples, for example. You can tell it, give me 3 examples or 5 examples to make the title longer, and then you can choose the one you like the most, and it will then implement it here. You can also, of course, rewrite it yourself, or add something. Or if you want to change something, you can just change it here or together with the title assistant. Then as soon as you're happy with the title, you can click on Continue to Description. And then what you can do is give it some context about your book, because besides the positioning we just created, you maybe have a few ideas how the book should be structured. Maybe you know, okay, the book should have 5 chapters that are about this and that topic. Or it's a facts book and the book should have 300 facts. Normally, then it's also part of the concept. So if it's a 300 facts book, it's already part of the concept, but you can just tell it everything you already have in mind here, and based on that, create the description inside of PublishFlow. Then as soon as you have the description, you can again use the title, the description assistant to optimize it. You can tell it, hey, make this paragraph here a little longer, or delete this paragraph and switch it out with a different paragraph that covers this pain point for the customer. You can literally tell it anything that you want, and it will rewrite it in that way. You can also ask for feedback, rate it from 1 to 10, and then it maybe rates it 8 out of 10. Then you ask it, okay, what would it make a 10 out of 10? And it gives you 5 steps to improve, and then tell it, use these 5 steps and implement them, and then it implements the description. You can also, I will show that later in detail, but you can click on one of the words, and if you don't like the word staring, I hope I pronounced that correctly, you can click on replace words, and it will now give you 5 synonyms. Glazing, for example, or glancing, glazing was above. And you can use that to now edit, in theory, the entire, I have my, give me a second. Okay, I had my writing correction tool, Chrome extension live. You can now go through the entire description and rephrase sentences, replace words. If you, for example, you don't like the hook, I actually like this hook a lot, but if you don't like it, you can click on rephrase sentence, and it will give you 5 different hooks that are in a similar style, but different. That's a nice feature for a description, but the inline editor is especially really useful for the writing tool. So as soon as we write the book later on, I will show it in a few minutes, you can edit the entire book inside PublishFlow with this inline editor. Or you can also invite a human editor if you want that, and he can then edit it inside PublishFlow for you without having you to export the book, uploading it into another software, and then the editor needs to edit it in another software, and then it's completely unformatted, and you need to use a different formatting tool to get it formatted again. So you can do everything inside PublishFlow. And then, as soon as you're happy with the description, you can click on Proceed, and you get to the outline configurator, the BRD, The BRD is the book requirement document, and it consists out of the outline, the writing instructions, and the style and tone guide. The first step is the outline creation. So you now need to decide how many words the book should have, for example, 30,000, and how many chapters. You don't need to give it a chapter amount. If you just keep it empty, it will analyze what makes the most sense for that book and then propose a chapter count for you, or you can just type, for example, 15, and it will then create 15 chapters. You can also upload research material. This is all text-based. For example, you can upload studies. If you write a self-help book and you want to include studies, you can upload all of the studies here and then refer to them while you are writing the book inside PublishFlow. Or if you are a therapist yourself, or you collaborate with an expert, with a therapist, and she has a lot of clients and client stories that she or he can share, then she can upload a document with, for example, 20 client stories, upload it here, and then PublishFlow will allocate the stories to the chapters where PublishFlow thinks the stories make the most sense. And then inside the writing process, PublishFlow can take the stories and will write them inside the chapters. And everybody who reads self-help or books in general know that stories make it way more real and way more enjoyable for the readers. And then you can add specific instructions. Here you can really write as much as you want. You can give the entire structure of the book. Hey, I want chapter 1 to be this, chapter 2 to be this, chapter 3 to be this. Then chapter 4 to 8, I don't have a clear idea. You can choose what makes the most sense here, but at the end, I want the conclusion that's written like that. And after the conclusion, I want a page where my bonus of the book is explained. And that's what you can tell it here, and then based on that, it will create the outline. And after the outline is finished, it will look like this. So you will have the entire outline of the book here. Here we have, for example, also an introduction. That's chapter 0. When you write the book, it will not be called chapter 0, it will just be called instruction. But that's at the moment. For the outline, it's technically called chapter 0. And you will see the entire chapter listed, all the sub-chapters, all the topic points, the talking points of the sub-chapters, and so on. You can edit everything yourself. You can add key points. You can add new sections. You can at the bottom add new chapters. You can move them around if you want. And the most important part of all, you can use the assistant to change anything inside the outline. It can give you feedback. It can re-edit everything if you don't like for example, if you're not happy with the word count, I mean, that's a short book, but if you want the book to be, or if you want the book to be longer, for example, for this book, just tell it, hey, I want the book to be 20,000 words, so make each chapter longer. Or if you don't think it's reasonable to make each chapter longer, you can tell it, hey, we have currently only 6 chapters, make the book 20,000 words and 10 chapters. And then it will do that for you, and then you can read it again, check it again, approve it again, and if you then like it, you can continue. Additional to that, you can click on the writing instructions. Writing instructions, you can imagine it like a briefing for a ghostwriter. If you give a ghostwriter only the outline like this, he of course knows how the book is structured, he knows how the book, what's the content of the book, but there are some details that are just not clear based on the outline. For example, this book has week 1 part 2, so it's like, I think it's 4 weeks for this book, right? Week 2. No, it's 14 days, I think. Yeah, this book has or it continues the end. I think the concept of this book, I haven't checked that, just opened one of our books here. But the concept of this book, I think, is 4 weeks. And if you now want the weeks to be structured in the same way, you can explain that in the writing instructions. For example, if you talk about the first week here, and you have day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you have the topics here in the BRD, in the outline, but you don't have the structure of the chapter. So how should this day be explained? You only have the day, but you have no way to tell the AI how it should write this chapter, how it should structure each paragraph of the chapter. And that's what the writing instructions are for. You can tell it, okay, the book has the concept of 4 weeks. Each of the 4 weeks is divided into one day. So one chapter has 1 week and then 7 sub-chapters for each day. And each day should be structured like this. Give a morning routine, then after the morning routine, give it a day plan. In the evening, give it an evening routine. And at the end of each day, write a motivational quote for them that they can read every day. Just as a random example. You can also do it if you have like a trivia book with 300 facts. You can tell it, okay, this book has 7 chapters and it should at the end have 300 facts. Please spread them evenly throughout all the 7 chapters of the book. Because it's not really practical to have an outline that's just 300 facts. It's nothing you want to do in practice. So that's why the outline itself just gives a topic, and the writing instructions then tell the writer later how to interpret the outline to write the best possible book. That's about the writing instructions. You won't need it for most books, but for the books where you need it, it's really necessary to have it. That's why we implemented it. And it's one of the most powerful tools if you get used to it and know how to use it. And then we have the style and tone guide. And the style and tone guide is also one of our most advanced tools because it creates a really unique writing style that the reader later experience when he or she reads the book. We have 3 strategies to create the style guide. The first strategy is to just let the AI decide. So you can tell it, hey, based on everything we just did, so based on the positioning, the target audience analysis you did, based on the description, and based on the outline, please create a style guide that you think makes the most sense, PublishFlow. And then it will create a style guide like this. The second option then is to give it one of your texts. For example, upload a text you wrote yourself that has 1,000 words, and then it will take the essence out of this text and create a style guide based on your text. And that's, in our experience, the most effective way to do it because it's a really unique writing style if you upload first your own text to PublishFlow and let it then create a style guide based on your own writing. And the third option is to prompt it. That means you can just tell it, hey, I want it to be compassionated, grounding, and not judgmental at all. And then based on that prompting, it will create the perfect style guide of your wishes. And then as soon as you are happy with the style guide, the instructions, and the outline, you can then continue to the writing step. The last tool inside the BOD is the context. The context is when you uploaded studies. As I explained here in the research material, you can upload studies and everything else you have researched for your book topic. Here in the context tab, you will just see that allocated for each chapter. So what PublishFlow does is auto-allocate the information you provide to each of the chapters, so the writing AI later knows where to refer to in each chapter. You will see that when you write the book. And as soon as you're happy, you can then click on Start Writing at the bottom here, and then we enter the most important tool in PublishFlow, of course, the writing tool. And for the writing tool, it has 3 main steps. The first step is it writes the entire chapter. So what PublishFlow technically does is write always chapter by chapter. It doesn't just write an entire book for you. It writes chapter by chapter, so you can monitor it, you can optimize it, and you can work with it together. And then it writes the first chapter. After it has written everything, you can read through it and give feedback to it. If you don't like a paragraph or you don't like an example it makes, or it makes, for example, it starts a great story in its writing, but it's too short, you can tell it, hey, please elaborate on that. Please write that in 2 or 3 more sentences to show it in more detail. And as soon as you're happy with the content of the chapter, you can then go into the second step of the writing process, which is the fact-checking. Yeah, and what the fact-checking does is sending out a lot of researching agents in the internet and searching for sources that then checks every claim that's made inside one of the inside the chapters. So here, for example, the fact check report has summary, no factual errors or safety issues were identified. All verified claims align with the authoritative ADHD resources because it's an ADHD book. Yeah. But I've also another example for you. Here the fact check found critical issues, and what it can find is critical issues, minor issues, or no issues. Minor issues you can decide if you want to implement it or not, and critical issues it highly recommends you to implement them because they are factually wrong. You can see here, wrote that's the issue, that's the correction, and that's the source why this is incorrect. You can then click on the source, it will open, and you can then read through it and double check if it's really the correct source for it. And then you can choose, or here you have also the minor issues. Here it just gives you suggestions. Hey, that's not 100% correct. Writing it like this is safer for the reader. And then at the bottom, you can click on a button. We already did that here, so you can't see it, but you can normally choose all of them and click on implement real facts, and then PublishFlow will automatically go through the entire chapter and implement the fact check by itself. And after you've done the fact checking, what you then can do is proofreading. You can click on the proofread button and the proofreading will start. What the proofreading does is highly humanize the text, so it's easier to read, it's not that detectable by AI detection software, and it's just a better experience overall for the reader. And it also makes it into a highly graded English proofreaded standard. So if you give it to a proofreader, it's not just, it doesn't have any grammatical errors or typos or something like this. It's just a professional edited book. And then the chapter, in theory, is finished. You can, of course, edit it even more. You can give it still more feedback. You can just write, hey, maybe you add something yourself, a paragraph. You can then fact check it again, or you tell it, hey, make this paragraph again a little longer, or give me a new subchapter that digs deeper into that topic because the topic isn't covered, is covered too short throughout the book. Or in theory, you can tell it everything, and it then implements that inside the chapter. And that's how you go through the entire book. And at the end, you have all of the chapters written, proofread, fact-checked, and proofread. And what you then can do is use the inline editor, what I showed you, to go through it a second time. That's what I do personally. You actually can do that directly. So if you write chapter 2, for example, and you're finished with chapter 2, you can immediately go through it and use the inline editor to edit it. Go through it step by step, replace words you don't like, and then really make it as perfect as possible. But what I do is first I write the entire book with PublishFlow, I fact check it and I proofread it, and then I go through it a second time just to be sure, and then I edit it myself with the inline editor. You don't need to do that, it's just if you're perfectionistic like I am, or you can also give that to a freelancer. If you don't want to do it yourself, you can invite them to PublishFlow and they can then do it inside PublishFlow. And then the book is finished. The last tool of the writing suite, so I introduced that, is now the sources. So give me a second. Now the book is, as I said, finished, and all the sources were saved here in the sources tab. So you can see for chapter 1, we have these 7 sources. For chapter 2, we have again a lot of sources. Chapter 3. So we have all the sources that were used to write the book listed inside PublishFlow. You can use your favorite style of the source displaying. You can add your own sources, and you can later on in the formatting and exporting step, you can decide if you want to include it at the back matter of your book. So if you want to print the sources and have it in your book, Some books need that, or it's better to have it for some books. And for other books, you don't necessarily need the sources, and you can just untoggle it, and you won't have the sources then at the back of your book, and you have just have it here as a reference internally for your own, as your own resource. And then the last feature is the formatting and exporting tool. And at the moment, you can see the old formatting and exporting tool. We will now release the new formatting and exporting tool, and we'll show that in the Q&A or after the presentation finished live with Roman. Roman is the one who builds and develops PublishFlow. I mentioned him in the beginning of the webinar really quick. And we will live with you together launch a new tool and then go through it after I finish the live demo for now. And then we have, that's the source, I think. Yeah. Then we have two more tools that I quickly want to show you before we continue. One is the book optimizer and one is the expert and collaboration tool. So the book optimizer is something a lot of people who bought PublishFlow last week or during the launch week are really impressed of, because here you can upload an existing book you already have published or you're currently creating, and you want to optimize it. So if you have a manuscript of a finished book, it has, I don't know, 30,000 words, for example, you can upload the book here and then use all the tools I've just showed you in the writing suite. So all the fact checking, the proofreading, the AI assistant to tell it to make things longer or make new examples, to rewrite stuff, or the inline editor. You can use all of this feature in the book optimizer for an existing book that you already have created and want to improve. And then we have the next tool I want to show you, the expert and collaboration tool. And what that does is give you access or give other people access to your books inside PublishFlow. For example, if you have an expert like I have the travel agents, I can invite them and they then create the book inside PublishFlow themselves. So I don't have to do the book, they create it in a week or two inside PublishFlow. Or what you also can do is invite a human editor who then, as I showed you, use the inline editor to edit the entire book in a day or two. So that goes also really fast and is really efficient for them. And that's it. That's how you create an entire book inside PublishFlow. You now know how to create an amazing manuscript with PublishFlow. But one important thing is missing: design. Let me show you visuals by PublishFlow, which we first introduced also last week in our launch webinar. Our design suite, which lets you create covers and more. You've probably already seen it, but if you haven't seen it, this will blow your mind. Here are 8 covers we have created with PublishFlow, all of them, and that was the fun and exclamation mark challenge that we set for ourselves. All of these covers were created in less than 15 minutes. So we told ourselves for the presentation of PublishFlow, we don't want a hyper-optimized cover. We just want the cover that's as fastly created as possible. And those are the results. All of this cover less than 15 minutes inside visuals by PublishFlow. And I will now share with you how the visuals tool looks inside PublishFlow. You will start here. You see the cover tool, and you can select, first of all, the style of your cover. I normally just let the AI decide. That's what I also did for the covers I created here. I just clicked let the AI decide. Same here, mood and feeling, let the AI decide. If you have a exact style in mind, of course, you can also choose one, but I normally think the AI has a really good judgment. That's why I let it decide it. Then you can select the size of your cover. You can select the subtitle strategy. So if you want to display the full subtitle or just a sticker variant of it. For example, if you do audiobooks require always the full subtitle. Paperbacks and ebooks don't require the full subtitle, so you can shorten that in theory. And then you can also choose if you want characters or no characters. For example, illustrated characters or real humans or silhouettes or stuff like that. You can click on include characters, and if you have a brand that has like one main character, you can upload a reference image of that main character, and then PublishFlow uses that as a reference to include the same character on one of the covers you create in PublishFlow. Or you can also, as I said, click on no characters, and it will not include any type of characters. It will just use illustrations and typography to make a beautiful cover for you. And again, if you have an example cover or other style references you want to share, you can add an image here, and it will then use that as a style reference while it generates it. And then you can describe your vision here. Describe it, hey, I want on the cover, for example, I have an example. This one, US road trip for seniors. I told the AI I want 2 seniors smiling in a car, and they just started that trip. That was my vision. It wasn't a crazy optimized prompt, just one sentence, because that's what I had roughly in mind. And then you can generate, and then you get the first cover results. And these were the first 5 results. And as you can see, none of them I would publish. So they're all really basic. They're not amazing at all, but they are the baseline of a great cover that I created then after that in like 5 to 10 minutes. And based on these 5 covers, I then clicked on 5 more variations and clicked on combine favorites. And I said, this one is pretty cool. I also like this one, and I think I also clicked on that one. So I choose those 3 covers. And then I told him make it a little bit more modern. Make it more modern and more colorful. Something like that. It wasn't longer like that. I just told it more modern and more colorful. And then based on that prompt, I created 5 more variants. And here you can see the 5 variants. And yeah, you can see now it's really colorful, but they're way better in my opinion than the first 5. So especially those 2 I like a lot. And especially this one, I looked at it and thought, okay, that looks, in theory, it looks really professional. It has a lot of potential. So I selected this cover. I clicked again on 5 new variants, remix a favorite, because that one was my favorite. So I clicked on that. And my main issue with this cover was the organ, the heart as an organ. And I told you, okay, I like the style, but it doesn't make sense that the illustration is a real heart. That just looks a little bit off. So please make the heart into a classic heart shape. I think something like this I wrote. And then I clicked on generate 5 new versions. And the results were these covers. And all of them, in my opinion, look really amazing. Especially this one. This one, as I said, it took me, I've just showed you, it took me 3 prompts, or only 1 click and 2 prompts to get to this cover. And that cover, I showed it to some German publishing colleagues I work with. That cover has like the quality of one of the highest level designers that we know in the German market. Of course, it's not perfect, you can still edit it now, but the basic concept of it, and it just happened after 10 minutes, is really impressive. You can then open the Magic Editor, and here you can refine it. For example, if you don't like the butterflies, I like the butterflies, but if you don't like them, you can click on Remove Elements and tell it, hey, please remove, actually here, remove the bird, remove subtitles, or in this example, remove the butterflies. And then it will just delete them. Or fix text errors, because we use, of course, AI at the back in the background to create the covers, and sometimes you get an amazing cover concept, but some of the subtitles have like small typos, or it's just weird text. And we fix that with 1 click, and you can click on Fix Text Errors, and it will then regenerate the cover with all the text perfectly fixed. And you can, of course, use all the other features here. If you want the heart to change it back to an organ, you can now click on Change Illustration and tell it, hey, make the heart back into an organ, for example. if you want it. Or you can add a sticker. It will then create a sticker in a fitting style to this book, and you can then move the sticker around and place it where you want the sticker to be. And as soon as you're happy with the cover, you can click on Finalize Cover, and then you can download it and use it for your ebook. But of course, most of you don't only publish ebooks, but mainly paperbacks, and that's why we created, additional to the front cover generator, a back cover generator. And that's one of, for us, it was one of the most impressive tools, because it was a struggle to technically solve this issue of AI-generated back covers, but we solved it, and the result is amazing. So here you can choose between 4 different concepts. This is one concept with headline, text, and 3 benefits. This is headline, text, and about the author. This one is just a big text. And this is headline, bullet points, and summary text at the end. Then you can tell it how many pages the book has. Is it black and white? Black and white, standard color, premium color. Is it white or cream paper? Some extra notes that you want to have included. And then you can click on Generate Back Cover. And the second step, you then create the copy, so the text of the back cover. So that means the headline, the entire text here, the text of the 3 benefits, and then you approve them or refine them with AI. And as soon as you are happy with that, it creates 3 back cover variants for you. And here I think I selected, I'm not sure, I think I selected this one. And then you can click on Finalize, or again use the Magic Studio to fix some text errors, or to eliminate some things, or to restructure it, just to edit it. And then you can open the full view of your cover. And you see here the front cover, you see the spine, and you see the back cover. All inside PublishFlow without you having to exporting it, create the back cover somewhere else. You have all inside the tool. And you can even see the trim sizes, and you can see all the guidelines that also Amazon has in its preview, the cover preview inside KDP. You can also change the size of the text. You can make it really big. Of course, it doesn't make sense to make it that big. You can also make it really small. So you can really individualize how you want it to look. And you can also click on the hardcover version, and then it will change the size to be for the hardcover version. You can download both of them, first hardcover, paperback, and then you have for your paperback and your hardcover publishing ready your covers that you can then upload on KDP. And then you have already seen that, maybe on our website or just on my screen, but I will still want to show that to you, because we not only can create front covers, but full publish-ready book covers, what you've just seen. Now, there's one more thing. We showed you how to create front covers, how to create full covers, so with back cover and spine. But one really important marketing thing is missing, and that's why I want to introduce to you A+ content by visuals. Here you can see a lot of our A+ content we created, and that's one of the most fascinating tools for me, because it's so easy. In cover creation, as I showed you here, these were the first 5 results. And they weren't perfect, and I needed to edit them. I needed to prompt it. It was really easy to edit them, to be fair, but I needed to give it some feedback. I said, make it more colorful. Then I said, make the heart into a heart shape. And then I got the result. So it took me 3 steps. But for the A+ content, it normally takes only 1 step. And that's what makes the A+ content tool so remarkable for me. First of all, you can again choose the page count. If you choose that before, it will be saved. Then you can select templates. So we have a lot of amazing templates prepared for you. You can click through the library here and choose a template you like the most. We also have human templates. So you see, for example, a mother or a parent and her or his child, or you just see a reader, cozy reader, reading your book in a setting that fits the topic of your book. You can show features, you can show the interior of your book, you can show the author. So a lot of different templates you can choose from. You can choose 5 of them and then click to the next step. Then you need to upload assets. For example, if you want a person to have the full book, you need to upload the full cover that you have created a step before, and then you need to edit the copy. So all the texts that are on the A+ content, you can double check here and edit it until it's perfect, and then you can click on generate the designs. And then it will generate all of these A+ contents. And normally the first version is in 8 out of 10 cases amazing. Like here, it just looks perfect and really professional. This looks also amazing. This looks also, if you look at that detail. Here we choose the hardcover, for example, to test if also the hardcover works. So here you can see it can also use hardcover mockups and paperback mockups. So it can do both if you wanted to do. And look at that. It looks also really beautiful. And this one, as you can see, it looks like a real human. And that's how easy you can create and how fast, especially, you can create a plus content in PublishFlow. I think that was the tool that was like the most mind-blowing for a lot of people, because they just clicked through it and the result was amazing. A plus content most people normally pay for each banner $20 or $30. And now we have like 5 amazing banners in 2 minutes. It's just insane. And those were all the tools inside PublishFlow. And we are working on many more, on many more. As I've just showed you, we already launched 2 new features, 2 new tools, 2 new updates, only 1 week after launch. The brainstorming feature and the new formatting tool. So you can look forward to many more and constant updates and new features over the next weeks, months, and years. Let me summarize what you've just seen. We've seen the niche and positioning tool together with the new brainstorming tool that I just showed you. You've seen the title creator and the title assistant to create the perfect keywords and concept optimized title. You've seen a description tool to create a best-selling or a potentially best-selling description. You've seen the outline creation together with the style and tone guide in the BRD tool. You've seen the entire writing suite consisting of the writing step, the fact-checking step, and the proofreading step. You've seen the inline editor, which lets you edit the entire book inside PublishFlow. You've seen the formatting tool, or you've only seen the old version. You will see the new version in a few minutes. You've seen the book optimizer, that you can use all the writing tools to optimize an existing book, and you've seen the expert and collaboration tool to invite editors or real expert, technical experts in their fields to create their books for you inside PublishFlow. And you've seen the 3 visuals tool, the cover creation tool, the back cover creation with the spine to create the full cover, and the A+ content creation tool. Everything in one tool. What you usually pay for these services. For a ghostwriter, if you want a high quality book, it normally starts at $1,000 and it goes up to $5,000. It can potentially exceed that in very specific niches. Then an editor, $200 to $500 for a book. Of course, depends on the word count. If it's 30,000, that's a normal range. If it's 80,000, it's way more expensive, of course. Proofreader, $100 to $300. Cover designer, it depends, but for a good cover, it starts at $100 and goes up to $400 or even more. The highest I paid was around 400 or 450 euros, so that's even more than $400. Then the A+ content normally is around $75 to $200. I personally pay $125 for 5 banners, or paid that before I had PublishFlow. Then the formatter for basic formatting, it's like $50. If it's really basic formatting, $200 if it's a little bit more advanced. And then the total, it adds up to $1,500 to $6,000 plus. Plus several weeks, if not many months, of waiting until everything is ready. That's very annoying and time consuming. Plus all the coordination between multiple freelancers and management of revisions, which is also very annoying and time consuming. PublishFlow replaces all of that. Now, let me talk about the pricing of PublishFlow. PublishFlow has two subscriptions. The first one is the base plan for $1.99 a month. Here you can create one complete book per month. It includes all of these features: niche and positioning, title and description, BRD, outline creation with the style and tone guide and everything, the AI writing tool with the fact-checking and proofreading, book optimizer, here again, the fact-checking, editing and proofreading, the inline editor, and the new formatting tool that we will show in a minute, and the entire exporting. So you can create one high-quality book with the base subscription. Then we have the Pro subscription. The Pro subscription includes everything in base, plus all the visual tools, the cover generator, the back cover designer, and the A+ content generator, plus the export and collaboration tool, and early access to new tools that we will launch. And the next tools we have planned is a translation tool into English, German, and Spanish. So if you have a book in English, you can, with PublishFlow, translate it into German or Spanish. Or if you have a Spanish book, you can translate it into German or English, and so on. So that's a very advanced tool we are currently writing on, and you, as one of the Pro subscribers, will be one of the first persons to test it. And the interior page image generation. So you not only can create a cover, but inside your manuscript, you can then, with AI inside PublishFlow, create interior pages. That will also be one of the most complicated tools we're building, but also one of the most fascinating tools and most valuable tools for certain niches and certain books. Here you can see both subscriptions next to each other. What you maybe recognize is both has one book per month. For those of you who want to create more than one book per month, you can flexibly buy more book credits in both subscriptions. Each additional book is only $179 in base and $149 in Pro. That means if you create a lot of books, it always makes sense to choose the Pro plan just to get the discount on the book credits. Both subscriptions cost a fraction of what you currently pay for a single ghostwriter alone. Let alone for a ghostwriter, an editor, a proofreader, a formatter, a cover designer, and an A+ content designer, all combined. And all of that in a fraction of the time. But don't just take my word for it.
I was able to create a 400-page book in a matter of hours in PublishFlow. In my previous workflow, it would have taken me months, thousands of dollars, ghostwriters, freelancers. This is absolutely mind-blowing. And the output's like natural language. And I'm so appreciative for the thought that went into being able to define the author and the tone and the pacing, give examples. Probably the most impressive part of the software is the niche research. Being able to input competition, have the software find the gaps, and guide you in positioning your book and your manuscript such that you're going to differentiate yourself, but also you're creating a high-quality book that answers the questions that the readers want answered. And by doing that, by being able to fill that need, your product is going to sell better. The book is exactly what the customers are looking for. So you're naturally going to get better sales. And with the software that you can create a cover, you can create the A+ content, then I can see all the other tools you're developing. This is really an outstanding one-stop shop and a huge, huge, huge time saver. I mean, to be able to just logically and systematically go through the creation process in such a detailed way is phenomenal. So thank you, gentlemen, for creating the software, and thank you for allowing me to test it, and kudos for putting a lot of ghostwriters out of work.
You now know what PublishFlow is, what it can do, how much it costs, how much money, time, and headache it saves, and that it really works. Now, today is the last day you won't need to pay full price. Everyone in this room today is still a founding member, and every founding member gets 25% off. Not just for the first month, not just for the first 6 months, and not just for the first year. but forever. As long as you stay in your subscription and keep it active or just pause it, you will have 25% off forever. That means base instead of $199 only costs $149. And Pro instead of $299 only costs $224. Forever. And those of you who want to pay yearly, you even get a better deal. You only pay $99 per month in base paid yearly. And you only pay 9 months paid yearly on the Pro plan. That is half of the regular price. Forever. So let's summarize the founding member deal. You can either choose to pay monthly or yearly, whatever suits you best. For base, that means you can choose monthly to pay $149 per month, or for yearly, you can pay $99 per month paid yearly. And for Pro, you can pay $224 per month if you choose the monthly plan, or you can pay $149 per month paid yearly if you choose the annual plan. One tool, everything you need. No more ghostwriters, no more editors, no more proofreaders, no cover designers, no waiting, no coordination. Just you and PublishFlow. Okay, thanks for again watching the second live demo. We will now do quick Q&A. You can also now scan the QR code, go to our pricing page. And I said quick Q&A, maybe it takes again an hour. The last Q&A took us, I don't know, 2 hours. We will do again a Q&A, answer all of your questions, and also show the new formatting tool. For those of you who don't have something to scan the QR code, maybe Tim can or already have pasted the link inside the chat. You can also type the link yourself. I can also show you the pricing page live. It's very important, if you want to buy yearly, you need to use the Founder 50 code. And if you want to pay monthly, you need to choose the Founder 25 code. That's essential. If you don't do that, you don't get the discount. That's really, really important. If you want yearly, you can, for example, choose yearly here, copy Founder 15, not 15, Founder 50, click on Get Pro Now. The pricing page will open, or the checkout page will open. And now it's really important to click here. It's in German for me, but that's like enter discount code, paste it, then click on apply. And now you can see that the discount got applied. That's really important. It's exactly the same for the base plan, exactly the same for the monthly plan. But for monthly, you need 25. For yearly, you need the 50. So that's really important. Make sure when you purchase it, then really use these codes, because else you pay way more than you need to pay. So that's an important thing to note. And now, Tim and Roman, I think we can enter the Q&A.
Yes, guys.
If you have any questions, we have the Q&A tab. So a lot of people already pasted that. Can you see the questions?
We have a lot of questions collected. I also collected all the YouTube questions inside the Q&A tab in Zoom, so you will find them there, Roman. To everybody on YouTube,
thank you for that,
keep asking questions. I'm taking notes of all of your questions. We will try to answer everybody's questions. So far, it's
nearly 60 questions. So hello, guys. Also nice to meet you here. And yeah, so quickly again, I'm the one who builds most of PublishFlow. I just was building right now the webinar, and today we'll also show the new features inside of the formatting tool, and yeah, also show some quite cool features there. All right, let's go through the questions, right?
Yeah, should we first show it or should we first answer your questions? What makes the most sense?
I would say there are a lot of questions.
I think it makes sense to start with the questions, because in the questions, I think the tools are also an answer, like to some questions. basically,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Next one. All right, first question is the tool only for English books or also good for German language? And if yes, is the same quality?
Yeah, the writing tool itself is the same quality as the English one. So if you the actual content of the book, the entire manuscript has a really high German quality. For some books, I have the feeling, and I got amazing feedback, but I have the feeling that sometimes the German quality after the proofreading is even better than the English one, because German is way more complex, and that gives the AI more room to really edit it and make it, write it unique. You have more ways of unique writing in German because we have, I don't know, we have like 10 times more vocabulary than English as a language, or at least 5 times more. So it's easier for the AI to make it human. And since the workflow is so advanced behind PublishFlow, it uses this complexity of the language to make it a really human-sounding language. It's of course amazing in English, but it's also really good in German. What the German version is lacking is in the title and description creation, the real examples. I think we implemented it now. So now, and with today, the German title creation and description creation should also be at the same quality as the English version. What it doesn't have is a German interface. So the interface stays in English, but you can create in the English interface, you can create the German books in there. Title, description, the whole outline. You can write the entire book. So yes, it's also possible to create German books.
Yeah. And I think also for the UI inside of the application, we have it already translated. I think one day we might also give the option for users to.
In a few days, sometimes next week at latest, we will have a toggle switch. You can switch between German and English. So also the interface for you as the user is then also in German.
Exactly. Yeah. Next question, does the founder discount continue to provide discounts in future year renewals? Simple answer, yes.
Yeah.
Every new product or every subscription you will buy in future years and future months will always have the founder's discount on it. If I want the tool to mimic the style, tone, and voice of one of my existing books written by a ghostwriter, how can I upload a sample for reference?
You have just a button that tells you upload, and then you need to select the file. You can have it as a text file or as a Google Docs, or as a PDF, I don't know.
I think it's more docs.
I think it's docs or a text file. If you have the book in the docs, you can literally just copy everything, paste it into a text file, save the text file and upload it. So it's really simple. It just needs the text somehow. And you can provide it the text, and then it will create a style and tone guide based on your text that you provided.
Exactly. And you don't even need to upload the whole book. It's also good if you just upload 1,000 words.
Yeah, for the style and tone guide, it's better to have it shorter, because else it takes longer and it's more complicated for you. You need to wait longer. So if it's 1,000 words, that's more than enough. It can be less. If it's less than 100 words, it's too less. But if 1,000 is the sweet spot in our test, so just around 1,000, upload them, and it's perfect.
Yeah. A quick question regarding the new tool, the brainstorming modus. So to Karin, yes, the positioning, this context will then be used for the description and for the outline creation. So there's also a little toggle switch or little UI text saying the brainstorm context will be used for the description and then also for the outline.
Yeah.
Even though the tool includes editing and proofreading features, is it still advisable to have the final manuscript reviewed by a human editor and proofreader?
I do both. I have a lot of books where I don't do it at all. I just export it. I read through it myself with the inline editor. That's effort again. That takes another 2 to 3 hours. But of course, compared to what you pay for a proofreader, it's how long you wait for the proofreader to do it, it's way shorter. So I do it myself for a lot of books. Or I have a lot of freelancers who create the books inside PublishFlow, and they are not proofreaders and editors, are just my freelancers which I trained, and they create the entire book, they edit it themselves within an editor, and then they download it and we publish it together.
Test, test, test. Can you guys hear me? I think the boys have a little connection issue, but I'm sure they will be back as soon as possible. Let me check what's wrong. I see Roman is still connected. Yeah. Wonderful.
So I think now we are on my computer, and we can also do it on my computer. Just checking with Andre, with his Computer. Ist das ein HDMI?
Ja.
Ja, das können wir theoretisch auch draufsetzen. But I would say, in the meantime, let's continue with questions. So, can I grant access to several professionals, such as a ghostwriter and editor, so they can work on the manuscript for the same book? And so, no, at the moment, you can just invite one professional per book. If you have many books, if you have more than one book, you can also invite more professionals. But for now, the tool is only built for one collaborator per book. Yes. If I cancel my discounted annual subscription, will I be able to access the same discount again if I decide to return in the future? No. If you cancel the subscription, you won't be able to then access the founder's discount in the future. Yes. Quick question regarding the language. When will it be available in Spanish? We have a lot of wishes in terms of languages. First will be German, but then I guess in a couple of months we will also take time for other languages, especially Spanish, because Spanish is with German are the two big markets on Amazon KDP. So, is it possible to create images and visuals within the manuscript? Yes, it will be. Not yet. We are still developing it, or I will be still developing it. For now, I was building the formatting tool that I will show you in a minute. This one was already answered. Is there a limit per month for how many covers A+ you can create? So every book credit you get through the monthly subscription gets you 3,000 visual credits. And with these 3,000 visual credits, you have more than enough credits to, in my opinion, make 2 to 3 covers plus the A+, plus the back cover per book. So you really have more than enough to try around to work with it. But we have a little pricing, so every action done inside of the Magic tool or inside of the Visuals tool costs a little bit of visual credits. But that's not an issue. If you don't have enough, you can just buy. We have, I think, 1,000, 3,000, and 10,000 visual credits as bundles you can buy inside of the application to continue working on your covers. Is anyone here making 10K from KDP? I think so, yes.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I do currently around $40,000 a month consistently. My best month was 123,000, but that was Q4, of course. Q4 is always really huge. Tim is doing, I don't know, Tim is also doing a lot. Maybe Tim can explain.
For me, it was also the first time I had 50K in Q4. Now February also was 60K, and now March will break that record again. And I think the same person asked a follow-up question, basically asking how much money are people making using PublishFlow? And Andre, me, we're both using PublishFlow. Doesn't necessarily mean use PublishFlow make 60K, of course, but we have a lot of successful publishers using PublishFlow who are inside that range.
Yeah, I think most users are.
We have a lot of beginners, which was a surprise for us. I mean, most publishers, of course, are advanced, but we have more beginners than we thought. But we have also, for example, Matt. Matt is also the small of our website. He's publishing for a year now and makes 10 to 20K already. And he loves PublishFlow. He was one of our beta testers and made multiple books with PublishFlow already. So a lot of advanced people, but as I said, it's also more beginners than expected. Okay, I have internet again. Tim, how can I rejoin?
I'm just join to the link again.
Okay.
Yeah, just join to the link again, and then I will make you host again.
Is the YouTube live stream?
The live stream, by the way, didn't end, luckily.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's still live.
Boom.
Nice. Quick technical question. Which AI engine does PublishFlow use to produce everything?
All of them.
And yeah, just put in one model inside of the chat. The answer will be yes, we use it.
Okay, maybe just make.
Yeah. So we're back live again with Andre.
Recording in progress.
Nice.
Mute. Okay. Can you hear us again? Tim, quick feedback. Can they hear?
Yes, we can hear and see you both again.
Okay, sorry for that. I don't know, our internet my internet died, and luckily Roman had still internet. Okay, I will start. Tim, I need the screen sharing capabilities.
Yeah, you request it, I believe. Maybe it makes sense that I stay host since the live stream is live now anyway. Did you crash again? No.
I think I'm just, wait. The host doesn't allow webinar.
Okay, I just give you host again.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, we can already read the next question.
Continue it. Yeah, so we have really nice of you guys. We have some nice feedback inside of the chat. Renato on YouTube, thank you so much for the awesome referral system. I've already referred 3 friends and have 15 books credits now with my yearly pro subscription. So yes, we have a really nice referral system inside of PublishFlow where you can get free book credits for every invited friend who purchases PublishFlow.
Yeah, free.
For free.
Not 3, but free. So it sounded like it's not 3, but they are for free.
Exactly. Yeah, another one writes, I have the yearly pro plan and I'm so in love with the A+ content creator comparing to what I paid before for the A+ content with loser quality that A+ tool paid for my subscription already.
Yeah.
Thank you a lot.
If you look at all of the features we have, if you look at the suite of PublishFlow, alone the design suite, if you get more than one a month, the cover, the back cover, and the A+ content tool pay for your subscription, and then you have the rest of PublishFlow still for you to write the entire book. So the value it provides is insane. If you're an active publisher and really doing this as a full-time job, I think it's a no-brainer. And even as a beginner, as I said, we have a lot of beginners. Also, Karine, one of our beta testers, she's our biggest referral person. We bring so many people. She wrote, I think, 10 books in the beta phase, or started at least 10 books, and it took a year for her to get started. And now since she's PublishFlow beta tester, she created so many books and is really happy with it. So that's nice.
That's really cool, yeah. Also, I see another beginner question for those who haven't written an outline, hired a ghostwriter with people without an experience at all. We will have
Oh no. I think you guys have to come.
Sorry?
You guys had network connections again.
Okay.
So
maybe repeat the answer to that question. I think that got completely lost.
Yeah, we will have more templates and more tutorials inside of the software, really explaining every tool, everything for better understanding of the writing section, the writing tool, the niche and positioning tool, the expert and collaboration tool. What we already have is one big one going through the writing tool, and we have also, I think, 3 explaining the
visuals tools.
Yeah, exactly. If people want to write books in Spanish, do we recommend writing prompts in Spanish or in English and then translating the book outside of PublishFlow?
Well, you can write everything inside PublishFlow in Spanish. So you can write with a chat assistant in Spanish. He will answer you in Spanish back most of the time, sometimes also in English, but it normally is in Spanish. And the generation itself will always be in Spanish then. It's not optimized for that. The writing itself is really good Spanish, but the title creation, the description creation has English examples behind it. So if you create it in Spanish, it still should be pretty good, but it's not highly optimized for Spanish. But what is good is if you write the book, so writing of the manuscript should be really good also in Spanish. But it's, as I said, it's currently optimized for English, of course, and German also. That's just a new update, and the perfect refinement of Spanish will happen in the next few weeks. But it's already possible to create Spanish books, yes.
Do we have plans to add a translation tool and then translate books into different languages inside of PublishFlow?
Yeah,
I think it's a different, like a real translation tool.
yeah, that's what we talked about before today. Don't I understand the question?
To translate books into multiple languages.
I think the question was asked before you announced that the translation tool will come,
Okay.
but yes, we have a translation tool coming.
Yeah.
How many books have you published to date, Andre?
Exactly, I think 58 or something. With ebooks more than 60, so it's like 64 with ebooks. But I don't do a lot of ebooks, so I normally only count the paperbacks. And paperbacks, I think I published 56 or 58, something like that, in these 2 years and 2 months or 3 months now. Yeah.
For the book optimizer, when can my existing German books be translated to English with that and vice versa?
No, the book optimizer isn't for translations. The book optimizer is to enhance the quality of the book. So if the book is the current state of the book, you can upload it and then use all of our tools inside. So the tools are the chat assistant to tell it what you want to improve. You can tell it, hey, in the first chapter, I have this paragraph and this example, but I want it to be different. I want 2 more examples. I want it to be longer. I want a different sub-chapter after that. I want another topic here and there. So that's what you can do with the chat, and it will then rewrite the chapter based on that. Then you can use the fact checking to fact check the entire book and give you sources to all the talking points in the book. Then you can use the proofreading to humanize the text and proofread the book, and then you can use the inline editor to click on the words, choose synonyms, or rephrase entire sentences to edit the book completely. That's what you can do with the book optimizer. But it's the book optimizer is like a bonus feature. It's you don't need to pay any credits for that. So you can create 1 book inside PublishFlow, and you can optimize 4 books, for example. There's like a technical limit, so people don't upload hundreds of books and rip us off in a way, but nobody will hit that limit, or most people will hit that limit. So you can optimize multiple books a month for free inside PublishFlow. Inside the subscription, you won't pay anything additional to that. You can just use them multiple times.
Yeah. If I don't use my book credit 1 month, is it then gone, or will it transfer to the next month?
You will transfer. It will roll over. You will just collect it. If you have like 3-month pause for some reason, you will just have 3 book credits or 4 in the next month and can use them. Some people, if they have seasonal focus, they sometimes create 5 books in a month, then 3 months they create nothing. So you can also do it like that. If you buy the yearly, for example, you get all the 12 book tokens at once. So if you look at the pricing page, if you click on yearly, you don't get 1 book credit a month, you get 12 book credits all at once. So you can then use them to create, if you want all of the 12 books in the first month, of course that would be pretty fast, and don't know if that's possible to make in a good quality, but you can make 4 in the first month, 4 in the second month, 4 in the third month, for example, or one per month as you like. It's really flexible. For the monthly, you of course have just one more book every time. But if you, for example, buy the monthly but want the second book, you can buy a second book as an additional book token, or you can also, if you are inside PublishFlow, need to find the right tab. Okay. You can here inside PublishFlow buy packages, so the prices of the book credits gets even cheaper. So that's what you pay for one additional credit on top of that book per month. But you can also buy packages. For example, if you buy 5 book credits at once, you save 15%. So you buy 5 books for $629 and can use those credits whenever you want. So if you have the monthly subscription and buy 5, you can use those 5 as long as you have a subscription. So you can use one of them now, you can use another one in half a year. So it's really flexible.
And this also works for yearly subscriptions, not just monthly.
Of course, yeah. If you have the 12 book credits in yearly and you use all of them in the first month, you can of course get new credits, so you don't have 1 year of emptiness. So it's
yeah. People are asking about the pause possibility to pause the subscription.
You can pause the monthly subscription without any problems. You can just click on pause and then you have 1 month where it's paused. You can access the tool but not use the features. You can download things you have inside, so you have always access to it, but you can't really work inside of it. And then after 1 month, it will be active again, and then in theory you can pause it again. So it's, in an extreme case, you can pause it, active, pause it, active, pause it, active, month. So it's on, off each month. That's what you can do. You can also pause it for 1 month, then have it active again for 3 months, pause it again 1 month. So it's, that's how it works.
When you list the book on KDP, which AI do you tell KDP you have used if PublishFlow is using all of them?
You can tell it PublishFlow. PublishFlow is a writing software, and that's what you can tell them.
Yeah. Can I switch from basic to pro after a few months while keeping the founder's discount?
Yes, without any issues. As long as the subscription is active, you have, for all the upgrades you do in the subscription, you will still have the founder's discount. Also, if you, in theory, after 1 year, you want to downgrade to monthly, then you still have the founder's discount. So you can do every type of switching inside the subscriptions and keep the founder discount as long as you are active or just paused.
Yeah. I think now would be the moment to show the formatting tool.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
For this, you can have a refreshing.
Do you have a book I should use as an example, or just a random one?
I think that should be okay.
Okay.
So now we have multiple new tools. We have the conclusion tool, and yeah, you can click on the conclusion tool. The conclusion tool, basically, how it works, I think for now it shows your last. Yeah, okay. For you, it shows the last chapter. Basically, when you start now a new book with the conclusion tool, what it will do at the end, when finishing all of your chapters, it will create a conclusion based on a summary of all of the changes or of all the last chapters. So it will then create a little conclusion of about 500 to 1,000 words.
Yeah, and you can also, again, optimize it. You can tell it to make it shorter, longer. You can rewrite it yourself, use all the tools in the writing suite, fact check it, proofread it. It's just a conclusion that is, a summary or a proper conclusion of the entire book and an ending of your book. You can also place the bonus content if you have one in the conclusion. You can tell that software, and it will then phrase it in a way that it then frames the bonus as something you can download, you can then upload. For example, if you click on the plus sign here, you can upload images in PublishFlow. I think I didn't show that before, but you can upload images. And then you can also upload a QR code, and then you can explain the text. Here's a QR code, you scan that to get the bonus, and that's what you also can do in the conclusion chapter.
Yeah. I would, let's go out for the show and let's go on this book, The Inner Child Healing Reset.
Yeah.
Yes, perfectly. So now what we also see over the chapter 1, we see your journey here. And this is now the introduction. So what you will now have as an option in creating the outline, you will have a little toggle, include introduction, and then the system will create an introduction for you. And
Give me a second.
yeah,
You can just keep explaining.
so yeah, the introduction is technically like a chapter and is refined through the outline process. You can then work on it. Because a lot of people were asking for introduction.
Yeah, before that, the introduction was just chapter 1, but there was a good feedback from the people that often you want introduction as not as a chapter, but just as an introduction. And then after that, you want it to start with chapter 1. And that's what we now updated.
Exactly. And now let's go to the biggest. Okay. To the biggest update to the formatting tool. So now we have a lot of, yeah.
Or should I open first?
No, let's open. You can open. It's week 1 or week 2. Yeah, not null, your journey.
Okay.
Yeah. So here we have multiple new tools for you. And so how can I explain it the best way? So to change the structure of your book, we start here in the navigation bar. You see you have a lot of these drag and drop feature where you can drag and drop different chapters. If you really quickly want to change the structure of your book, you can do that. You can now include images. We will probably take away this feature inside of the writing tool and really focus the writing tool only on the writing. And then inside of the formatting tool, you'll be able then through this little plus to add images, which is what I already did here. I imported an A+ from before.
Just as an example, of course, you don't use A+ inside your book manuscript, but we just wanted an example image to show it.
And you see here on the right side, you have, and so now I have multiple things on one thing. So here it's the preview page. And what I did here is I worked on the image setting. You can here now grow and shrink your book or your image. You can move the positioning. You can add a caption down there. You can do multiple things. What you can also do when you shrink it. So first it'll be like this. But if you want to have text flow around your image, you can then click on this or on this, and this will make the text here flow all around your image. So this is about it for images. You see up there, you have all the tools you need. You can here work on your page numbers, on the positioning, on the formatting, on the size, on the font. If you want to have it alternating or just centered, many options right there. Here you have your templates. You can generate different templates. Here going on, we have here a template with a little ornament. We will be adding more ornaments and more graphics afterwards. You can also create your own custom template. This is a really cool feature where you can prompt. You can say, hey, I want a classic literature book, or I want a romantic one, or I want a really bold formatting, then the AI system will create a template for you. You can also work on it manually, work on the title size, the body size, layout. Yeah, I think everything one would need. We even have here a drop cap as an option. You can add ornaments and then work on the ornament sizing. So yeah, a lot of options right there. Then the next cool feature we have, let's show it right here. You can add, here inside of the library, we have page templates. So many people were saying, hey, I just want to add a blank page without anything. You can do this now. So then you will see right there a blank page adding here. You can also duplicate it if you want to have multiple blank pages. I guess for adding more graphics or adding different things. You can also
normally you want that if the book is always 2 pages.
Yeah.
And if you add one blank page, you can then artificially make the chapter, for example, always to start on the right page. and you always want the left page to be blank. That's why a lot of people requested that. That's really useful
Yes.
for many books. But also show
The other
the
ones.
lines.
Yeah, so now we have a cool feature, not just with blank pages. So by the way, I'll just show quickly what you have. You have lined pages, you have dotted grids, graph paper. I think this is like some kind of habit tracker, Cornell notes. We will probably also be adding more templates right here, but for the first update, it's work like this. So you can also edit your lined page. For example, you can say, hey, I want my lined page to take 100% of my page, just 75%, just 50%, or just 25% of the page. You can then either edit it even more. You can say the template should go from the bottom of the page. So I can add, for example, allow the text flow. Then text will be added to the top of it. And down there you will have your aligned page. So you have more options right there. You can either also prompt. You can write, I don't know, hello there. This will be then added on top of your line. Yeah, you can here edit the line color, edit the line spacing, edit the line thickness, and then you can click on done, and you will have it here. The heading, will be.
Yeah, we can zoom in so they can just see it. There's the heading, then we have the 4 lines, and then the text that overflows. Yeah.
Exactly. So this is basically it for now. You also see here we have the image generation with a little soon disclaimer. This will come.
Yeah.
I don't know when it will come, but it'll come. The sooner the better. So the AI image generation for the manuscript inside of PublishFlow will happen inside of the formatting tool. And I think for this, you'll have a lot of options to generate cool images. I already built that feature for a really old version of PublishFlow, so we already know how it will work, more or less. And I think this will help a lot of you guys to create nice images for your manuscript. And yes, I think this is more or less it. You can then export it as a PDF, as an EPUB, or as a docs, and have fun with it, formatting and directly also exporting it to KDP.
Yeah. Also, of course, you can choose the size of it. You can choose what to export. Yeah. Okay, maybe Tim, you have a few questions,
We have one.
especially for the formatting tool.
Yeah, we have one question right here. Is the formatting tool included in the base subscription?
Yes. Yeah, it's in base, it's in pro, it's in both subscriptions.
Then we had another question regarding upcoming features. Are future upcoming additional tools going to be included in the subscription or paid extra?
We have a lot of tools and features planned, especially for the Pro plan. And then after the Pro maybe had that for a few times, some of them may be transitioned to the base version. We're not sure of that. But we also have a few very extensive features in mind that maybe will end up in a new feature because else it's too expensive to deploy inside the Pro feature. So we have a lot of crazy tools that are insanely valuable for book creation, but they are technically really hard to provide and cost so much AI tokens that we would lose money if we implement that in the Pro plan. So maybe if we build that, we would need to have another tier for that. But there is no precise plan for that. That's just something in our heads. But all the features we now talked about are inside the Pro plan, definitely. So the translation tool, the images, these will be in the Pro plan. And also a lot of more other tools will come to the Pro plan. So we have at least 10 other tools in our backlog that we will work through, and they are all planned to be included in the Pro plan. And some of them even for Pro and base. So you can looking forward to that.
Yes. Can a formatting tool be used on manuscripts created outside of PublishFlow? Probably yes. If you finished your manuscript and if you upload it to the book optimizer, there the formatting tool will also be deployed, and you'll be able to format your external manuscript inside of the book optimizer.
Yeah.
Any plans for social media images to promote the books? Why not?
We have actual plans there for Facebook ads creatives. We have plans because I use, for example, Facebook ads for most of my books. We have ideas there. Maybe Tim will then execute them in the visuals platform. A lot of ideas there. Also, mockup tool is in my head. So we have a lot of also new visuals tool that we will add to the current stack.
And you can already create, it's not for Instagram, but you can already create audiobook covers for a cover. So there you'll have basically the same format one by one, but for audiobook covers.
Yeah, that's true. We didn't mention that.
I think when it comes to social media images, it's not only images we have on our roadmap, but also videos is something that we're aiming to release.
You leaked it. Tim, you leaked it. But yes, he's right.
Sorry, guys.
All good, all good, all good.
Karine also is asking, will it be able to create in the future an image very pale in gray to cover the whole page and the writing will be on top of this very pale picture? Basically, she's asking, would it be able to create like page background designs? Also something that is on the roadmap and 100% technically possible.
We will improve the formatting tool step by step. Now it's the first version and we will improve it throughout the time. Yeah, every tool will be improved with your feedback and yeah.
I think one question that I found really interesting is not directly for this tool, but it's basically what makes the writing or generally book creation in PublishFlow different than from just writing the book with Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, switching between things.
Yeah, but I built the tool or I built the workflow outside of that with switching a lot of tabs, but there are a lot of issues when you do that. So you can, if you have a great workflow, I think I can't really could share this, but I can explain it. If you have a really optimized workflow, you can do it with tab switching. Not all of it, but you can reach like 80% of what PublishFlow can do with multiple AIs in multiple tabs. But you need very precise prompting. You need to follow it all the time, step by step, and it takes just 5 times as long. So my workflow, I taught that to the travel agents especially, and I made multiple Loom videos for them to understand the workflow behind it. And all of them made mistakes in the beginning because it was too many layers, it was just too complex. And after a week or two, they then understood, after me feedbacking it and making another Loom video to provide it to them, they understood it, and then okay, then they started the actual writing, and then it was like 2 or 3 weeks to create it. But it was still not as efficient as in PublishFlow, has a lot of flaws. But as I said, you can build something like it because that's what I did and that was the baseline of PublishFlow is. But what PublishFlow can do better than this workflow is, for example, the context management. You can't really manage the context inside these tab switching. You can do that, but if you do it as effectively as PublishFlow does it, it would take you longer than just writing it yourself because it's so much details and different things you would always need to add in each generation. It's not possible to do. I mean, it's really not possible to do without a software like PublishFlow. So to get the full quality inside the app, it's way more efficient than to do it outside. And as I said, some things aren't even possible outside of an app because the app is the thing that combines all of these things and you manually can't really do. Also, the workflow behind it is my book creation workflow. Also, the BOD creation is very special. So you, of course, can create your own outline with your own AI workflow, but I bet it's inefficient compared to what I created because I created so many books with it and we really optimized it for PublishFlow. So it's, I think, really hard to build it yourself. And as I said, a lot of things are technically not possible to build outside of an app. So, and also the addition, of course, the visuals features. It's just that it adds everything together. It's not just the book writing, it's all the tools you add on top of it. Title, first niche and positioning analysis, the competitor analysis, title creation, description, PRD with writing instructions and the style guide. You create the entire book. You have the writing assistant live that can interact with your whole manuscript. You can't do that inside of an AI. that efficiently as PublishFlow can do that. And you have then an entire formatting tool that is now way better than it was a week ago, and it will be again much better in 2 weeks maybe. So it will constantly be optimized. You have all the sources collected in there. That's also not possible outside of an app. You would need to add all of them manually after I provided them to you. So it's so much more convenient to use PublishFlow, and you're safe with PublishFlow because all the workflows are tested, and you yourself would have to test all of them yourself, and that would take like, I don't know, half a year at least. I mean, it took me a year to create this. It took me longer than a year to create this workflow. So, yeah.
Yes, just answering some of you guys in the chat. Also, like really nice feedback we're getting here, so thanks a lot.
We have a question, one here. I don't know if this has been answered. I don't think so. If I don't have time to create a book in the first month, can I carry over the credits to the next month?
Yeah, we answered that. All the credits roll over. So if you don't use it for 1 month, you have in the second month 2 credits. Yeah.
Somebody wrote, if I upload a book manuscript in Claude, it can read any of the chapters, and I can ask if I have duplicate concepts or thoughts, and it can look at the whole document and tell me. Can your optimizer system do this?
Yeah. I mean,
For a chapter.
also for the book, it has the context of the entire book in it.
Mm.
So you can ask it for duplicate content. Yeah, it can't read it. So Claude reads it for you. What was the thing?
Yeah.
So it reads you the book. So it's like speaks to you.
No, I think he just meant, basically he asked, can the proofreading tool, it's basically, yeah, he asked about the proofreading tool, but the proofreading tool does exactly what you asked there. Basically, yeah, just read through the whole book in his context window and check for duplicate.
Yeah, the AI
concepts.
assistant always have the context of the entire book. So you work chapter by chapter, but it of course knows what is written in the other chapters. So you can also refer to other things in the chapters. You can check for duplicate content in the other chapters. So that's of course, that's like you need to have this feature, else it wouldn't really work. So yes, that's possible.
Yeah. One question from YouTube: can we upload our own front cover for it to design the back cover and A+? For the A+, it works. For the back cover, we still have to build that feature. And but yeah, for the A+ feature, you can just upload an external cover you already did, and then you create the A+ with it.
You can also just create a new cover inside PublishFlow for an existing book. It doesn't have to be a book you created in PublishFlow. You could just tell it your title, your description, optionally, your niche. If you answer a few questions about your book and your niche, and then you can create a cover and a back cover and A+ content for this book. So it doesn't have to be a book that you created before that in PublishFlow. It can be also a book externally.
Yes,
Mana on YouTube asked, does it write fiction as well?
It's pretty good at short stories, so it can do short stories for kids or multiple kinds of short stories, but it's not built for classic fiction, so novels, romance, everything in that direction. The structure of it isn't optimized for that, because in classical romance or general novels, as far as I understood it, I'm not a fiction author, but I read a lot of fiction, and it's hard to imagine that fiction first creates the outline. So in non-fiction, we always first create the outline, and the outline creation is like one of the most important features in PublishFlow, because if the outline is great, the entire book will be pretty good, most likely. And in fiction, you don't create first the entire book outline. The book grows, and then there are new story paths that are happening, so it's alive. And that's not really what's happening, what PublishFlow is optimized for. You could do that, but it would take way longer than a non-fiction book. So it's not optimized for fiction. It can technically write fiction, and the writing style would be really good, but it's not convenient to use PublishFlow for fiction at the moment. For short stories, yes. For non-fictions, of course, that's what it's built for. But for classical fiction books, it's not optimized for that. But maybe long term, we will make pure fiction optimized suite inside PublishFlow with a lot of fiction features. Because as I said, I read a lot of fiction. I read way more fiction than non-fiction. I'm really passionate about fiction. So it would be also one of my dream tools to have that inside PublishFlow.
Can a program be used on multiple computers or a single one? Yes, it can be used on multiple computers. If you have your account set up, and then you can just log in on another computer and there open your book.
One person on YouTube, very nice feedback, who subscribed yesterday, and I was just blown away by everything. Research, fact-checking, book cover, and A+. Another person asked, if I already have a concept in mind, can I tell it during the title creation and work from there?
Yes, you can also do that inside the niche positioning is exactly built for that. If you click on new research, you can add your keyword here and your idea. So if you have an idea for positioning, just paste that here. It can also be really long. I also did that myself, really long explanations. I have this concept. These are the topics I want to cover. This is like the 3 things I want to talk about mainly inside the book. So build a concept around this. So you can do this here in the niche positioning, then do the analysis of the competitors, and then it will give you again 3 positioning concepts that are based on the analysis it did and on your own idea. And then based on you can open the brainstorming and add, maybe it's changed your idea a little bit. You can then change it back in the brainstorming and argue with it, what PublishFlow thinks it's better, what you think is better, and then you will, as a team, get a really great positioning. And then based on that, you can start a title creation. But if you have a finished title already, so you did all that manually, or you just have a great title already in mind, you can also just create a new book from scratch in the PublishFlow dashboard. Click on New Book, and you can choose, I already have a title. And then you just need to paste your title here, paste your author name, describe your positioning in a few sentences, and the target audience in a few sentences. So then it doesn't create a title for you, but you can enter your title, and then it immediately opens a title creation tool, where then in theory we can optimize the title or just keep it as it is, and then go to the description tool. And you can also, if you don't want to use the niche and competitor analysis, you can create a new title just based on your keyword, niche name, a few questions you need to answer, and then it will give you 5 example titles if you want to skip the niche and positioning. Niche and positioning is one of our, I think, most valuable tools, because it's one of my biggest strengths is the positioning of the books. Most of my books sell because they have a unique position, a unique value proposition. And that's why I would recommend to use this tool, because it's extremely strong. It's one of the tools we thought of not publishing, not releasing it, because it's too powerful, or it could be too powerful because it's now too easy to create great concepts. That's one of the tools I had the biggest fears to publish this tool here. But it's out now, you can use it, and you can take it as an advantage. Again, the founders discount is ending today in around 10 hours. Maybe it's only like 8 hours now. It will end at 11:59 p.m. EDT. So it's like midnight in America. If you're in Europe, it's Sunday morning around 6. So it will only be available until the end of this day, or the early morning till tomorrow, depending on where you are in the world. But yes, it's ending really soon. If you want to get it with this discount, go on publishflow.ai/pricing. The page looks like this. You can switch between monthly and yearly. You can then, if you have yearly, you can copy the founder 50. If you choose monthly, you can copy the founder 25. For example, yearly, founder 25. You want yearly pro, you can click on the pro button. Get pro now. You will end up in the yearly subscription page. Enter the code here, that's really important. Click on apply. It will apply the discount, and you only pay half then. you see the taxes here. That's German for taxes. So if you are I don't know how it works in the US, but in Europe, if you enter your VAT number, you can enter your VAT number in this field. It then will just delete the taxes, and you don't need to pay the taxes in the EU. Don't know how that procedure works in the US, but the US people, of course, should be used to purchasing software like this. But for all the EU people, use your VAT number, and you will save the taxes. Okay, more questions? Maybe Tim, you have some questions?
Yeah, let me check out YouTube. It almost feels like cheating now with that niche and positioning tool, somebody writes. Fabienne has been writing a lot of great praises. I asked this during the first webinar, but it has not been answered. Do unused book tokens in a yearly plan roll over to the next year?
Yes. All credits roll over. Monthly credits roll over. Yearly credits roll over. Yes.
Somebody has asked concerning the book cover design tool. Do you guys really use this cover design tool and editing tool now for all of your books? Or do you still work with freelance covers, designers, and editors? I can tell from my side. Oh yeah, you can.
Maybe you can do first, Tim.
I wanted to say I have used it, like I have published books that have a very good 4-digit BSR with purely PublishFlow created covers. But I've also now taught my designers how to use PublishFlow cover generator to create covers. So basically, to answer your question, yes on both questions.
Yes, I've never, or not never, but I've rarely paid designers. I've paid one German designer 400, I think 400 euros to create one cover. The cover was amazing. I think I had 2 covers done by her actually. But else, most of my other covers I've done myself with AI and then edited it in Canva. And now since I have PublishFlow, I create all my covers in PublishFlow. And I have multiple book brands. And for one book brand, my sister creates the covers. And she also uses PublishFlow to create the covers now. Before that, she used my AI workflow to create the covers with AI. And now she uses PublishFlow, which is faster and better quality. So yes, we mainly use or only use AI, PublishFlow's visuals tools to create the covers.
People are using or asking what the niche analysis tool does in the back end.
Yeah, what it first does, it gets all the data from Amazon. So if you look at the product page on Amazon, you have the title, of course, you have the review count, you have the entire description, you have the A+ content banners, you have the reviews, you have the entire product page on Amazon, pricing, everything. And it will get all of this data from all the competitors you entered there. And then it will save that first of all, and then you can click on do the analysis, and then it will analyze this data based on a prompt I wrote that's highly optimized for book concept creation. That's the secret why it's so good, because my prompt is extremely optimized for advanced book concept creation. And it will analyze all the data it got from Amazon, but it will also do research in the internet to get more data around the topic, to not only have the competitors information, but also general niche information, what is just happening around the world in that niche topic, what are new trends, etc. And then based on that, it will give you an analysis. And after the analysis, you can continue and you have 3 positioning ideas based on all of what I just explained. And you can use them to brainstorm, optimize them, and then start to create a title and then also the book, of course. Andre, why do you don't publish ebooks? I don't see a reason for it, because all publishers I know don't make money with ebooks. They only publish ebooks to get reviews. And I don't do that. I'm not a fan of that. It's a strategy I dislike. I publish paperbacks. I get people to buy the paperbacks. I reimburse them. They then give me feedback. And I ask them, or I just tell them, hey, thank you for the feedback. I'm happy you liked the book. By the way, it would be a huge support for me if you could leave a review. It's of course optional, but it would help me and the book a lot. And most people do that. And that's how I get to 20, 30, or 50 reviews, and that's enough for me to then scale the book. And later I get organic reviews a lot. And then I get from 50 pretty fast to 100 or 200 reviews through organic methods. So don't use these review platforms at all. And the only reason people publish ebooks, in my experience, is to collect reviews before they launch the paperback. And that's not something I would recommend. That's not something I think is right. So yeah, that's why I don't publish ebooks. I have a few because I thought, okay, for these books, it makes sense to have an ebook for the reader, but most books I create are not for an ebook audience. And then the only reason to make an ebook is the review strategies a lot of publishers are using, and I don't use them. So yeah, so no ebooks for me.
One question I've read multiple times now. Please answer the question. If you start with a monthly subscription, can you later switch it to yearly and keep the founder bonus, basically?
Yes. If you now buy monthly Pro, for example, and after a month you like it and you want to upgrade, you can then inside of PublishFlow upgrade. If you are here, I think I'm already Pro yearly, but you can manage plan, then you should be able to upgrade it here. So yes, you can just upgrade it and it will automatically have the 50% discount of the yearly. So you have the 25% of the monthly if you buy now monthly, and if you upgrade to yearly, you will automatically get the 50% discount of the yearly. Yes.
Would you still test the PublishFlow generated covers against the competitors' covers?
Yes,
I do
definitely.
so, yes.
Definitely.
I recommend to do.
Before you publish a book, always test the covers. That's the most important thing. Because then only then you know if the book has potential or not. And we also want to build a testing tool inside of PublishFlow that you can just use that, send it to a platform to get your people who take the surveys, just want to say servants, but servant is the wrong word, right? The people who do the surveys. And then they rate it inside PublishFlow, your book and 3 competitors. And then if your book wins, you can use this, or else you can use the feedback they provided to you. For example, they explain, I don't like your book because of that, but I like this book because of that. And we can then use this feedback in the cover generation for the next covers to optimize based on their feedback inside PublishFlow. That's something that's also on our list. But nevertheless, if you create a book cover in PublishFlow or outside of PublishFlow, always test. That's the most important part. Before you publish a book, test the cover. The cover is the most important element of the book. If you want to succeed, make a cover survey. It doesn't cost a lot compared to what you get if you know you have a winning cover.
Irene writes, I used many times the niche and positioning tool without putting my competitor URLs. Is it okay, or I missed a lot? What's going on in the software in the back? This part we already explained.
Yeah, if you don't have competitors, it just analyzes the niches based on the internet searches it does and all the knowledge it has on the niche. So it still gets a great positioning, but it of course doesn't know the attack points of your competitors, which is just lost potential. Yes, it's more predictable if you add your competitors because it then definitely knows these are the weaknesses. So if you make a book that use these weaknesses to make them better, you have a unique position in your niche. That's why I would recommend to do that, but you don't need to do that. It would also find a unique concept without that, but maybe then the concept isn't that perfect to attack the competitors in this niche.
Somebody asked on YouTube, does the software create ebooks and audiobooks as well?
Yes, ebooks, yes, audiobooks, no, because also audiobooks, you are not allowed to create AI audiobooks at the moment on ACX. So all the ACX books, as far as I know, need to be human generated,
Yeah.
spoken by humans, voice acted by humans. That was the word I was searching. So no, it can't do an audiobook. but it can create the ebook version. I mean, it is both automatically. If you are the exporting tool, you can format it as a perfect paperback and then switch to EPUB and also download automatically a perfectly formatted ebook. And then you can switch to PDF and then you can export the PDF for the paperback. So yes, you can do ebooks and paperbacks and hardcovers. So you can also do the hardcovers. In addition to the paperback covers, you can also do full hardcovers inside PublishFlow.
Can I start more than one book per month or only after another?
Or you can, if you have enough credits, you can, for example, if you buy yearly, if you get the yearly plan, you get 12 book tokens. And in theory, you can create 12 books today. Just open them. You don't have to finish them, but you can open 12 books and then you have 12 books open. Don't know if that's reasonable, but you can do that, yes. You can also just do 2 or 3, finish one, open 2 new books. Maybe you do brainstorming a little bit in there or just writing half of it. Then you have a new idea for a new book. You can create a second one and get back to the first one a month later. So you, of course, are flexible there. But if you have enough tokens, also if you have monthly and you have only 1 book credit and you buy 3 book credits inside PublishFlow, you can also then make more than 1 book. As soon as you have credit, as long as you have enough credits, you can open as many books as you want. Okay, any other questions?
Trying to find still unanswered questions. If you have more questions, guys, keep them coming. I think we already answered this. We will be able to give instructions in our own language, even though the book is in English. Yes.
Yeah. Then you need just to be really safe, you can always tell it write in English. You can communicate with the chat in your own language, you will understand it, but it just needs the framing somewhere that it should write a book in English. But if you tell it that once, it normally remembers that, yes.
Another question, does it cost 1 credit to optimize an existing book?
No, the optimizing feature is like a bonus feature. So you can create a book in PublishFlow and use the credit for that. But if you want to upload a manuscript you've already written, you can just use it multiple times a month. It has like a cap, a limit, but the limit is so high that most people will never reach it. So you can do 3 a month, you can do 5 a month without any issues. So that doesn't cost anything additional. It doesn't consume a book credit. You can just do that to improve your existing books.
Is it also 1 credit to optimize an existing book?
No, I just answered that.
Also, sorry.
Can I change the language to German inside the app, so the user interface, or is it in English and just the output in German?
It's currently only in English, the interface. The output can be in German, but Roman mentioned it 15 minutes ago that we will update the software in the next few days, and then the middle of next week you will have a toggle where you can switch from English to German, so then the interface also switches to German.
Why can't you extend the discount date until Amazon pays on the 1st of April?
That's
A good
a
question.
good question.
Bad luck. Bad
Yeah.
luck. Yeah.
In the future, you should include a cover testing option within the PublishFlow users to test each other's covers.
Each other's covers.
That's
interesting.
I think
Each other's doesn't really make sense, but as I said, we will build a cover testing app where you can split test your cover against competitors' covers, get people on that to maybe 50 people who then vote which one they like most, and then you have the results. So yeah.
one thing when it comes to testing the covers, it's important that you actually test with the target audience of the book. So testing with other publishers wouldn't make that much sense. Just did some developmental editing on my first draft and PublishFlow, super strong. Oh, I saw you also here during the first webinar. Stop Complaining's his name.
All right, I think if that's all in terms of questions, then I would.
Anything else on your end, Tim?
Yeah, we've pretty much answered all the questions, I think. So,
Nice.
yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, again, last call to action, guys. Today is the last day. If you want the 50% or the 25% on the monthly, scan the QR code, type in the link. Maybe Tim can share it again in the chat so you can have it easily to click on it. Yes, he just shared it. Perfect. And then we will enter the pricing page. You can select which one you like. Really important, again, make sure to copy the right code. That's essential. Else you won't get the discount. You need to copy the code. Then, important, you need to click on the plan you want and you need to enter the code. So you need to enter the very first thing before you enter anything here. The very first thing, enter the code. Paste it here or just type it, founder 50 for yearly and founder 25 for monthly. Click on apply. We had also some people who pasted here but didn't click on apply. So that's important. There's a button. It's anwenden in German, but in English it's apply. Click on it and then you get the discount. And only when you see this, here, you know, okay, I have the discount. Now I can fill out everything and pay. If you don't do this, you won't get the discount. So that's very important to include the code. Same for the monthly, same for both subscriptions. So yeah, just make sure to do that. You will have a few more hours and then it will be closed, and that's the lowest price we will ever have. So yeah, really make sure to use this. The yearly plan is actually so cheap that it's a little bit scared for us because we already see the costs going up of the people who are using PublishFlow, and we don't know if we regret making the yearly plan so affordable, but it is what it is. That's why we are also closing it now. But yes, you all have until today, in the next few hours, time to get it, and we would be happy to welcome you inside PublishFlow. Yes. Okay, if there are no more questions, we would close it. If you have any other questions, you can write me via email. If you're on our email list, you have gotten some of my emails. It's Andre with a Y. Maybe we can just so you. Andre@publishflow.ai. If you have more questions. But yes, I think we solved most of the questions. You can go on the pricing page, buy it now, and then join PublishFlow. It will be nice to welcome you there.
I have one sweet comment maybe for the end. You're doing a great job, guys. Crazy how fast you always respond. I'm wishing you the best of success and much fun. Yeah, it's every time I see Roman, he's just sitting there and talking to customer support.
Yeah,
and programming.
I'm like, I think the last week I was like 24 hours in front of our support chats, replying to you guys. So if you have any questions at all, just ask me. And if I miss your message, then be sure it wasn't intentional. It was just, yeah, I didn't see it. Just ask me again, and I'll reply to everybody.
Yeah, we have also a very competent AI chatbot who can solve most of the usability questions. So how to use which tool is very competent in that regard. But technical things, or maybe if you can't find anything, also the AI can tell you that. But if you want to get to Roman, just tell it. It should send you to Roman, then he will respond. Of course, we are in Europe, so if you are in the US, it's really late for us now. So we go to bed in a few hours. So then, of course, Roman can't respond when he sleeps. But like 24/7, when he's awake, he will respond to
Yes,
you. Yeah.
yes. I would really like to reply to you while sleeping, but that's unfortunately technically not possible.
Maybe AI can also change that long term, but unfortunately at the moment.
With a neural link
exactly
in my head, while dreaming, I could respond.
Yeah.
Maybe one last question in the YouTube chat. Is there any way to get around not paying the 20% UK tax? I'm pretty sure that UK also has the same VAT system. So if you're on the checkout page, you have a registered UK business, or you have a VAT ID for your UK business, and you enter that during the checkout in the buy as business, enter business name and VAT ID, the VAT should also be removed.
If you buy as a business, enter your VAT ID here, and then the VAT will be deleted. So yes, then you save the VAT.
Okay, guys.
Great. Then thanks to all of you for being here in YouTube and in the Zoom webinar. Thanks for all the support. As I said, over 170 people bought in the last week, maybe more. We counted that yesterday, and today, before this webinar, even I think over 10 people joined us. So it's great support. The feedback is amazing. It was a surprise for us even how many people joined and how much they love it. So really grateful for that, really happy, and have huge updates and new features planned that you will get access to. And we'll be very happy to work with you, talk with you in the support chats or in the emails if you write to me. So yeah, thanks to all of you, and yeah, have great success with publishing.
Write great books, and we'll see each other in the support chat.
Bye, guys.